Hello friends, my name is Meena. I am lecturer law in the Rai University. Today we are going to study law of torts. So our topic is tort relating to person. So there, as we have studied earlier, that law means breach of duty. Tort means breach of a duty. Tort law means breach of a duty. So tort is of two types. Tort is of two types, tort relating to persons, tort relating to property. In this lecture we are going to talk about tort relating to person. So as we all know, tort is breach of a duty. So we can go to the court of law if tort happens against us. So let's see, a person can institute civil and criminal actions if his right to personal security is threatened unlawfully by another. If my rights to security is threatened by another, then I can go to the court of law. Either I can go to the civil court of law or a criminal court of law. Such threat resulting in bodily harm or restraint may be termed as a trespass to person. So for example, if such a kind of a threat happens to me, so this threat will be called as trespass to person. If this kind of a threat will happen to property, this will called as trespass to property. And such a trespass to person will called as assault, battery, false imprisonment, or it is called as wrongful confinement in Indian Penal Code. And fourth one is malicious prosecution. So firstly we are going to study assault. So what does mean by assault? Assault means attempt of laying of hands or an attempt to do a corporeal hurt. So assault means an attempt to do a corporeal hurt to another. This is the first element of assault to another by using some force without any lawful justifications. So firstly we have seen that assault means an attempt to do a corporeal hurt to another. Then the second point will come that this hurt will be unlawful. There won't be any justification, as we have seen in earlier lectures that there are so many justifications which one can take after doing some wrong. But in these situations, if you are not having any such kind of unlawful justifications, so this will termed as assault. Assault is an offence under section 315 of an IPC. So assault, this definition belongs to tort, but as well as this is given in under section 315 of an IPC. So this is assault. Now we are going to study the definition. The unlawful laying of hands, as we have seen earlier that assault means was an unlawful laying of hands or an attempt to do a corporeal hurt to another, or an attempt to do a corporeal hurt to another, or threatening someone's security, beating someone. Doing such kind of attempt will come under assault, coupled with the present ability and intention to do the act. Or in this situation, in this assault, one should be capable of doing such kind of a hurt. If one person is disabled and you are alleging that person has tried to kill you, a person is not that much capable to hurt you, and you are saying that person has assaulted you, so that will not come under the assault. So that person should have ability and intention. Intention is very important in tort, as we have studied earlier as well. So intention should be there to attempt the corporeal hurt or to hurt other person. So this is very important element of assault. If assault is happening, this element should come under the assault. So we are going to see one example, as I have mentioned many times, an attempt to beat. This is one of the example of an assault. And pointing the loaded gun, this might be again one of the example of an assault. So essential elements, as we have seen right now the definition. Now these are the elements of an assault. Threat of a force or violence. There should be threat, there should be force, there should be violence, otherwise this won't be assault. Reasonable apprehension of such a force. There should be reasonable apprehension. If a person doing an attempt, and that attempt is not that, if that attempt is not that much powerful that you felt you get apprehended, so that will not be come under assault. So that force should be reasonable. There should be reasonable apprehension and defendant's ability to capacity to carry out the threat. So as we have seen in the definition, that person should have capacity. If that, as I have said in definition part, that if that person is disabled, if that person is child, and you are saying that that person is trying to kill you or tries to beat you, so in that situation, court will say that no, that person is not that much capable to beat you, that person is not that much capable to carry that gun. So this thing should not happen when you are talking about an assault. So these are the essential elements of an assault, and these are the case laws which is most important when you are studying an assault. That first one is a Black Bernard case, which is the landmark case of assault, and the second one is Bavi Seti Venkata Surya Rao versus Nadipatti Muthaiya. These are the very important case laws for the assault. So now the second topic is battery. So as I have said that these are the crimes which happen against the person. These are the torts which happen against the person. Again I am repeating that tort relating to person is of four kind: assault, battery, false imprisonment, malicious prosecutions. We have studied assault, now we are going to study the battery. So battery means what? Beating. As we have seen, assault means attempt, but beating means doing the act. If you got, again I am repeating that assault means attempt and beating means doing that act. So beating, intentional application of force to another person without any lawful justification. There is an intention to beat someone, there was force there is no any lawful justification. If that person do not have any lawful justification, that person has intention to commit an act, so that, and there is a application, the most important, there is a application, then that will called as battery. If there is an attempt, then that will called as assault. Battery is the completion of an assault. As I have said many times that if that application will become, instead of application, if there would be attempt, so that will be assault, and if there is a application, that will called as battery. For example, inflicting pain upon another by beating or falling down. If somebody is inflicting so much pain by beating him, so that will be battery, and if a person is attempting to beating someone else, that will called as assault. Hope it is clear to you. Now we are going to see the definition of battery. It is an actual application of force to another person. It is actual application, there is no attempt, there is a doing of act done without any lawful justification in a rude, angry, insolent and revengeful manner. If there is no intention, if there is no lawful justification, that person do not have lawful justification. For example, that person is saying that that person do not have any defense, like that person do not have any defense, so that will come under battery. The use of criminal force under section 350 IPC. This battery is called criminal force under section 350 of IPC. This is deal with section 350 of an IPC. Now we are going to see the essential element of battery, use of force. So there should be use of force, the force should be intentional, that force should be intentional and without any lawful justification. This is very much important, that should be without lawful justification. As I have said that if there is no lawful justification, that then that will not, if there is a no lawful justification, that will come under battery. If there is a lawful justification, then this will not come under battery. So now the third one is false imprisonment and wrongful confinement. Again I am repeating is that we are studying tort relating to person, and tort relating to person is defined in four categories. First one is assault, as we have studied, battery, false imprisonment and wrongful confinement, and malicious prosecution. So now we are going to see the false imprisonment and wrongful confinement. The total restraint of a person's liberty without lawful justification. The total restraint of a person's liberty without lawful justification means what? If we are locking one person in a room without any lawful justification and we are not letting him get any access out of that room, so what we have done? We have restricted him to that place without any lawful justification. So that is the concept of wrongful confinement, false imprisonment. We have imprisoned that person into a room. We are not letting him get access of outside the room. So that will called as a false imprisonment or wrongful confinement. Unlawful arrest or detention, if you have detained a person for no reasons, so that will called as a false imprisonment or wrongful confinement. Okay. Disallowing a person to come out of his house, that is again one of the example of false imprisonment or wrongful confinement. If we have locked someone's house from outside and we are not letting that person to come out of his house, it means that we have restrained that person, it means that we are disallowing him to come out of his house. So what we have done? We have done false imprisonment or wrongful confinement. The term false imprisonment and are somewhat leading. Before in tort, false imprisonment was, this concept used to call false imprisonment, but many jurists feel that false imprisonment, this term is misleading. So in Indian Penal Code they have used the word wrongful confinement. So wrongful confinement is defined in IPC and that false imprisonment substituted with wrongful confinement, hence substituted it with the new name wrongful confinement. So don't get confused with the false imprisonment and wrongful confinement. Both are one and the same thing, but false imprisonment substituted with the wrongful confinement, and this kind of a restraint and the false imprisonment, this terminology is somewhat misleading. That's why one should prefer to use wrongful confinement. Now we are going to see the definition of wrongful confinement. The infliction of bodily restraint which is not expressly or impliedly authorized by law. So if a police officer arrested a criminal and he has detained him into the detained him behind the bars and he is not letting him come out of that bars. So whether that policeman is doing wrongful confinement or false imprisonment? No, because he has a lawful authority. He has that authority. He has a lawful justification. He can say that he is the criminal, that's why I have detained him. But if a common man, or for example if a person is detaining to another person for no reason or just to not letting him do his work, so that will called as wrongful confinement or wrongful confinement or false imprisonment. Section 340 of IPC deals with the concept of wrongful confinement. And now this definition is given under Indian Penal Code section 340. Whoever wrongfully restrains any person in any manner as to prevent such a person from proceeding beyond certain some circumscribing limits is said wrongfully to confine that person. As I have said, for example, a police is detained a criminal behind the bars. It does not mean that policeman has done wrongful confinement or false imprisonment, no. But if a common man or if a person is wrongfully confining, for example, A is wrongfully confining B, A is locking the doors of A and door of A, and that person is saying no, I have just done that. That cannot be the excuse. That person do not have lawful authority. That person do not have lawful justification. That means that A has done wrongful confinement and false imprisonment. Now we are going to see the essential elements of wrongful confinement. The first one is total restraint or complete deprivation of liberty. Total restraint, as I have said in earlier when I was describing this, that when a person detains somebody else, when a person detaining B and he is not letting him get out of his house, so he do not have any access coming out of that room. It means that person, he has a total restraint, he cannot come out of in any way. So that will called as a total restraint or complete deprivation of liberty. If A is locking a person in a room, and as I have said, there is no way he can come out. So there is a deprivation of liberty. He cannot do anything whatever he want to do. So there is a complete deprivation of liberty without lawful justification. As I have given the example of a policeman. So he has a lawful justification, that person has committed so and so crime, that's why I have detained him behind the bars. But if a other man doing it for no reason, so that will not be called as lawful justification. So that will come under the wrongful confinement or false imprisonment. So there are many examples of this: restraint, gearhouse, pointing a deadly weapons. If a person pointing a deadly weapon and said that you cannot go here and there, if you done that, I'll kill you. So what that person is doing? Wrongful confinement or false imprisonment. Unlawful arrest, locking out of doors. Now, as I have said, we are studying tort relating to person. So it is of four kind: assault, battery, false imprisonment, and malicious prosecution. We have studied that before, earlier 3 ones. Now we are going to study malicious prosecution. Ill will against a person, a wrongful act done intentionally without any just cause or excuse. A term prosecution means a proceeding in a court of law charging a person with a crime. So for example, firstly I will explain with the example. A is having ill will against B, and he is saying that, and due to that person has gone to court of law with the false allegations. That person has done theft, that person has taken these things from me, that person has done a trespass, any kind of a crime. He has any kind of allegation he took and went to the court of law. But why he has done the ill will he is having for the other person? So this is wrong, and that prosecution will be called as malicious prosecution. Malice, that word itself denotes ill will. The term prosecution means a proceeding in a court of law charging a person with a crime. Now we are going to see the definition. A prosecution on some charge of a crime which is willful, wanton or reckless or against the prosecutor's sense of a duty and right. As I have explained with the examples. A makes a false complaint against B that B had committed theft with a view of compel B to deliver some property to A. For malicious prosecution, here is the libel for malicious prosecution. Hope this example make you clear this concept. Essentials: the plaintiff acted without reasonable and probable cause. The plaintiff was acted with the malice. Malice is very much important in malicious prosecution. Thank you.